Welcome, everyone, to Make Your Day Richer. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm so glad you're here. Today, I have a 16-year-old. Her name is Shanti Hershenson, and she's the author of an astounding 30 books across various genres, including her novel and poetry, You Won't Know Her Name, which tackles the tough topic of bullying in middle school. Shanti uses her powerful voice not just to create captivating stories, but also as a passionate anti-bullying advocate. And she's here to share her remarkable journey as a prolific young author and inspire us all. So let's start the show.
Make your day richer than it was before. Got some good times knocking upon your front door.
All right. Shanti, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
16 years old and an author.
Yes, technically I'm 17 now, but
Oh, you're 7. Well, then in that case, it's
I just
not a
turned
big
17.
deal.
So,
Well,
yeah.
happy birthday.
Thank you.
You published your first book when you were in 6th grade.
Yes.
When did you fall in love with books and realize that you could also write them? Because I feel like that's so young to even put 2 and 2 together.
Oh my gosh, I have to say I've been in love with writing since I was a really young. Ever since I knew how to read. I believe I started reading a little bit younger. So in preschool, I remember we'd go to the bookstore and my parents would read to me and I'd get to pick out a little book. And I just remember I'd always be so enthralled by the pictures of the authors on the windows. And I was always well, I love books. So I love the people that create books, and I really want to do that. And once, of course, I learned what an author was, I was like, okay, I need to do this. And I used to create these little stories on paper and bind them together. Except the one thing was, I didn't know what I was doing, and I didn't ever think that it was something that I could do, just as a teenager or as a kid. Because if you look at it, obviously the vast majority of authors are adults. A lot of them are older. And there's very few stories of successful teenagers. So it was always something that was on my mind, but it was something I thought that I was going to be able to do when I was much older. However, it started, well, I guess it really does start when I was in 6th grade. And me and my friend, we were working on this little book of ours. It was 40 pages. And so I really wanted to get a printed copy of it. I was like, oh, it would be so cool to because now we're done. We've edited it, to make this feel real. And I go online and I Google how do I get a printed copy of a book? And what I discovered was Amazon's Kindle Direct Publishing. And I was like, well, I guess I could self-publish it. And that's what I did. And then when the printed copy of the book came, it really dawned on me. That's oh, I just published a book. I don't know what to do. And of course, that never really took off outside of my school. I sold probably 10 copies of it, which I mean is good for being in 6th grade.
Yeah.
And then literally 5 days, I think, after that book came out, we were sent into lockdown. So after that, I was like, well, now I know how to publish a book. And we already wrote this little novella. Maybe I could write an actual novel. And I sat down and I just started writing this book. It's called Biome Lock. It was my first I feel weird saying real book, but it was my first novel. And I just sat down and I started writing, and I really couldn't stop. It was really bumpy because I really didn't know anything about writing outside what I've been taught at school. So I had to learn so much about my writing style, from going from writing these really short sentences to way too long sentences. And then I just really learned how to write a book through writing a book.
You should write a book about what you learned about writing a book through writing a book.
I really want to do that. I think it would be so cool to just write about all the things that happened and just how it went, writing my first book.
Well, what are some of the takeaways from that for people who maybe aren't scared to start writing a book? What are some things that you learned from doing it?
One of the biggest things I learned is just the only way to improve is to write consistently. Early on, I'd say the first few months of writing that book, I'd write a sentence and then I'd be like, oh, I've written a good amount today. I'm done. Or I'd write a paragraph or a scene. But really, I think I was about 12 turning 13, and I had maybe 30,000 words in this book, which is good. However, it needed to be a lot longer. I wasn't anywhere near finishing the story. I didn't know where it was going when I realized, like, oh, I have to write, like, I should write a certain amount of words every day. And I set on 1,000 words. And from there, like, once I started writing 1,000 words every day, I really noticed there was improvement in, like, the way I wrote and the scenes that I wrote. And after that, like, it really just was a breeze.
Oh my gosh. What did your parents say when you were like, I'm going to write a book and then I'm going to publish a book? I figured out how to do it. I'm going to do it. What was the reaction from family?
I like honestly, I think they were very surprised. I will say early on, I didn't even tell anyone I was writing a book. I don't know why. I was always like, I'm kind of like a shy person. I was like, oh, I don't really want to answer questions about my book. Like, that's so embarrassing. So I didn't tell anyone. Except I do remember, I think it was like that summer or maybe like that fall 2020. And like the lockdown parameters had lifted just enough that we could go in like the backyard and like have our like aunt and uncle over and just like, be 6 feet apart, wearing masks,
Mhm.
all that fun stuff. And I remember I was like, "So guys, I'm writing a book," and everyone's like, "What?" 'Cause I never told anyone I'd been writing a book. And then I read them the prologue, and they were like, "Oh, this is very interesting." And then after that, I think I slowly like really started talking to my family about like my book, and of course, like they were really supportive. I always remember I would ask like my parents, I'd be like, "Am I a good writer?" 'Cause I had this like really bad self doubt when I first started. So I'd come downstairs, am I a good writer? Do you think I'm going to be successful? And of course, they'd never read my books. They had no idea. And then it wasn't until I was actually done with that first draft and I got like this printed copy of the book. Oh, and by the way, this book was really, really long too. This was like a 250,000 word, 800-page book by the time it was done. I was in 7th grade. I didn't know what I was doing. I had to split into 3 books. But then by that point, by the time I had this really giant like first draft, I let them read some of it and they were like, hey, this is good. And then I started working with my editor, and then it all really like started coming together.
Oh, so you used like you self-published, but you used you used an editor. That's so interesting that
Yeah.
you and you throw out words like prologue, and people are going to say, "Oh yeah, she's a legit author." Even in your family, they're like, "Okay, well, she must be serious if she's using real words." How many books
Yeah.
have you published?
So I have published 20 now. Number 20 released on November 30th. And I have my next project that I'm gonna release that I'm finally like amping up. But it's in like a different format than usual. So I'm like, does it count as like publishing another book or is it still 20 and then I have this other project? Um I have kind of paralleling myself in 7th grade. I have another really, really long book, except this time I can't split into 3 books. And it's like it's so annoying because this is actually like a really concise book. Like it's not like I was really like with my first book, there was room to cut a lot. This one there's not. So I'm releasing it on Patreon as like a serial
Oh.
novel. And then after like once I kind of get some like, traction around it and actually have people reading it, then I'm just gonna publish it as this really long book. Um, but it's a lot.
Okay, so then I that brings up a question because you're obviously young enough to know like what to do to promote yourself. So, and there are people who have been writing for a very long time and publishing has changed so much
Oh
as
yeah.
you know. What are some tips that you and then I'll probably write some of these down too for myself on how to promote yourself because there's so many people writing books. There's so many like with self-publishing, there's so much competition. So what do you do to promote yourself?
So I have a combination of social media and then like newsletter promotions where like I discount the book and then it goes out to
Mhm.
readers who are really like interested in like discount books and then also events and podcasts. So I'd say when it comes to social media, the biggest thing I've done to have like videos like go viral is it's like, what makes me different than everyone else. And of course, for me, I have a bit of like I have a good story, teen author. But there's something for everyone. There's always an interesting story when it comes to writing a book. There's always something you can use to really promote yourself. And then from there, I've started posting on like TikTok and Instagram very consistently. For me, being on TikTok, I got pretty lucky because I started really publishing around the same time that Book Talk was at its peak.
Mm.
So then I could use
Mhm.
like Book Talk and the things that were trending on Book Talk to then really get my books into the hands of readers who were just happen to be on the side of TikTok. And like from there, then I've just really like posted. I've had to experiment with posts, like, okay, what works? And now I found that a lot of my videos do really well when I have like this like heading, like introducing myself, like, hi, I'm a teen author. I've published this many books. My next book is releasing, and then you go on to like share something about the book. And
Gotcha.
it's been a lot of trial and error, and then like coming up with these like marketing plans detailing like when I'm going to post, when I'm going to announce something, when I'm going to do this promotion, when I'm going to submit to this book award. And it's all just really like now like just kind of like almost a template.
Wow. It's are you gonna go to college, or are
Yeah.
you planning on like, this is what I'm gonna do?
Yeah, I really want to go to college. But at the same time, like obviously, like I really want to continue this. I want to go to college like for writing, probably creative
Okay.
writing, because I can't see myself as an English major. But I can't see myself as a creative writing major. So
Well, then go for it. You can always change it.
yeah.
Who would you say I mean, 28 books, it probably varies, but who are you writing for?
So I write primarily for teenagers. I've always like said like my books are written by a teen for teens and also sometimes about teens. But within that I've also tried to like branch out a lot. So I wrote my first children's book a while ago that came out in August. And then I've also like thought like, it would be really fun to write like a middle grade book for like those elementary school readers that are past picture books but not yet to like young adult. My only issue is that because I've written so many YA books, it can be very hard to be like, to go to that new genre where it's like, hey, you can't have this high stakes in the book. You can't kill off this many characters. So in that way, it's been a little bit challenge because it's hard to like draw the line and be like, okay, what's going to be suitable for these readers and not suitable and just like things like that.
That's the fact that you're so well organized at 17 blows my mind, because I don't even know what I'm doing tomorrow. So that's so fun to hear that you're like passion behind it.
Thank you. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, I mean, and it shows. And obviously, what are you hearing from people who are reading the books?
So the feedback has been overwhelmingly positive, which I mean to me that's been the greatest gift is that I've really like developed a really good readership who they'll read all my books, they'll review them, and I find a lot of readers they really like my books because they connect with them. For example, I have You Won't Know Her Name, which was a novel about bullying, and so many people really found it relatable. Or I have books where even though the stakes of the books are really futuristic and there's characters who are immortal and they're fighting all of these things, there's still parts of it that are really relatable for readers.
Hmm.
And that they find like, oh well, I really connect with this character, or I connect with this like plot scenario. And from there, I think it really allows for readers to really like enjoy my work. And honestly, like that's why I do it is to connect with people.
If someone's like, okay, I don't know, Shanti has an entire library already full of books. Where do I start? What's your favorite book that you've written?
Ooh, okay, that changes every
Yeah.
time I write a new book, every time I publish a book. I'd say right now, one place that's like a really good way to get like a grasp of like, okay, what is Shanti Hershenson's work? I'd say Little Green Man. It's a novel that follows a 17-year-old girl investigating aliens. But at the same time, there are a lot of themes of like high school struggles and like, the difficulties of being a teen. So it's the medium between my books that are like like contemporary and about like real world like social issues, and my books that are insane, awesome sci-fi plots. And honestly, when I wrote it when I was 14, I did not think it was going to be successful. And it blew up. It's one of my most popular books. Its readers have been loving it. It got considered for film briefly. It was a
Mhm.
blast.
That's amazing. Where can people find your books, and where can people follow you and find you?
Of course. So you can find my books anywhere you buy books online. They're available on Amazon, Barnes and Noble. If you look them up, they'll be there. You can also find me on my website, which is shantihershenson.com. That's ShantiHershenson.com. And then you can find me on my social medias, which my Instagram is just at Shanti Hershenson, and my TikTok is at Shanti Who Writes. I'm also on Twitter, but who uses Twitter anymore?
What do you love most about your life right now?
Ooh, right now, I'm loving like the balance between like work and school and just like I've really been able to find joy in like everything.
Good.
I have 3 cats and like they are like my babies.
Hmm. What do your like friends at school think of all of this?
It's really funny because it's always like people are kind of surprised to hear. I don't talk about it too much, so I have like teachers who don't even know, and like some of my teachers found out for the first time when I had to get a form signed to go to this like book award ceremony in like Miami, and I had to miss school. And but it's also like it's really interesting because there's people who I don't know that also just know, and they're like, "Oh, you're the writer," and I'm like, "Yeah, how'd you know that?"
That's so fun. I'm so happy for you. This like when you find your passion and you go for it and you do it, there's just something about that. And you thank
Yeah,
you so much for being here and
of
sharing your
course.
story.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, come back anytime. I mean, you've got a book coming out every 6 minutes, so come by anytime you need.
I would love to.
Great. Shanti Hershenson, everyone. We'll take a break and be right back after this. Life is difficult. Are you feeling overwhelmed or like you could use a little support for your mental well being? Visit the Help Hub. It's the most comprehensive and inclusive free online destination for mental health resources, helpful tools, crisis hotlines, and supportive content. Just go to thehelphub.co to find the resources you need when you need them most. Unlike other resource pages, the Help Hub is divided into 16 different categories, ensuring that everyone in every community has access to the resources and support that matches their unique needs. Find the help you're looking for at thehelphub.co. That's our show, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. Now's a great time to just share the show. Wherever you're watching, wherever you're listening, share. Tell everybody how amazing Shanti is, what a great episode you need to watch, and we'll see you tomorrow. Go make your day richer. Go make somebody else's day richer. You've made mine by watching this show, and I love you for it. Hey, now's a good time. Also, if you want to support the show, go to buymeacoffee.com/makeyourdayricher. Buy us a couple coffees, and we can continue to do this every Monday through Friday. All right, have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye.